lonely beastie I be. Oh, I wasn't going to jump on the mic today, but it just seemed like one of those. It just seemed like one of those days. Why not? Because there's a lot to talk about. There's the quarterback. There's the Schoen. There's Giant fans who have kind of gone. Some have gone on to the deep end of crazy. Meddling Mara doesn't help anyone. I love Meddling Mara. That's a good one, Zach Attack. Meddling, I like that right off the bat. Meddling Mara doesn't help anyone. And you think about this, the way this team is constructed, and I was trying to go through the rooster because of the fact that this roster does have 30. We have 31 free agents on this roster. And I was trying to think about it, from the terms of who's good? Who do you keep? And who do you sit there and say is a vital, integral part of this team? You look at John Michael Schmitz, jury's out. Banks, I still like Banks, but some people don't. Flott, gone to me. Dory Jackson should be gone. A lot to like and a lot to dislike about Drew Phillips. Elijah Chapman's never even seen the field. Jordan Riley, Kyle Van Ruten. Oh, okay. McFadden, good enough, but I don't know if he's good enough to be on any other team. Let's see here. You got Azuda, who is Azuda is just one of those other wasted picks that the Giants have had. I mean, but you keep going through this roster. Brian Burns, you're going to keep Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't know what's going on with Kayvon Thibodeau. Tommy DeVito, you're going to keep Tommy DeVito. Devin Singletary, Lord knows. Tyrone Tracy had a good year for a wide receiver playing running back, but let's see what happens when the league gets film on. Belton and Pinnock, to me, are just garbage. Same with Isaiah Simmons. Evan Neal's played like garbage. Daniel Bellinger's played like a third end. He's played like a third tight end. He's Caden Smith. Bryce Wheaton Ford had one play in his entire 2-year Giant career. Jalen Hyatt, we don't know what the hell's going on with Jalen Hyatt. Darius Slayton, Wando Robinson, all replaceable. And these are guys that's the roster. That's basically the rooster. And on injury reserve, you still have Davidson, Hawkins, Johnson. Dexter Lawrence was hurt. You got Aziz Ojulari. He's going to be gone. John Runyon's hurt. Andrew Thomas is hurt. There's not much there. You probably have 6 guys that you would want to keep out of 54. 6. And the jury's going to still be out on the 2024 draft. And like I said, it sounds like the Giants are playing a totally different game than the rest of the league. Like the league is playing chess. Joe Shane's playing Battleship. And Joe Shane's trying to figure out why the pieces don't mix. Why these pieces don't fit. Because you're not playing the right game. Barbara, what's up, Barbara? I haven't seen Barbara in a while. I love this comment right here. The Giants still have a bottom 3 or 4. I think the Giants have the worst roster in the league. Even with the wonderful Brian Burns. What's going on, Blackbird? They have the worst roster in the league. Let's just be 100% honest. And you would think that I personally shot Bugs Bunny the other day when I had the audacity to say, Tim said Deion Jones. I didn't say Deion Jones, did I? When I had the audacity to say, I said Tommy DeVito. When I had the audacity to say, you should trade Dexter Lawrence. Listen, I love Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is not Chris Jones. There's a lot of defensive ends that Dexter Lawrence is not. And because he is the best player on this team, he is a second team, Pro Bowler, second or third team All-Pro. He is an excellent defensive tackle. Excellent. But if he's such an excellent defensive tackle, why do we have one of the worst run defenses in the league? In the last 6 games of the season that he played in, he barely had any solo tackles. He had no sacks. And I love it because someone on Twitter was like, well, you're just cherry picking games. I took the last third of a season. It was the last third. Technically, there's only 3/3. in a season, and I took the last third. You need assets. You need things. And I love it because people are like, well, you're going to trade him for assets, but you're going to let Joe Schoen draft. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, so we should keep, you have think, and I keep asking people to think logically. Think football smarts. Football is not a single season. Football is the long haul. You don't just, in 100 years, we've had 100 seasons. I did the math. We've had 100 seasons. So you need to prepare for 2025 as much as you need to look out for 2027. That's the philosophy of teams like the Steelers. That's a philosophy for teams like the Packers. This is a philosophy of the teams that are good for an extended period of time. And I saw something, someone sent me something, and you know what time it is.
Stupid Giant Twitter post.
Well, this is more than a Stupid Giant Twitter post. This came from a YouTube page or YouTube thing called, I didn't get a chance to watch it, called Giants Collective. And Giants Collective, this is stupid YouTube Twitter or stupid YouTube titles. Should the Giants rebuild? That was the name of the video. I didn't get to watch it. I don't even know who they are. Didn't even get to watch it. But I thought it was so, because someone said to me, I thought it was so stupid because it's like, haven't we been rebuilding for 10 years? Yes, you should rebuild. And rebuilding means tear it down. Tear it down. I love this one by Blackbird. Brian Burns, our superstar defensive, had 8.5 sacks. Had 8.5 sacks, not 8. That's a big step. We've talked about it before. NFL Network, after we made the trade, came out and said, you know what? Good trade for the Giants in reference to the assets they gave up, but you paid $120 million for an 8-sack guy. And I said the same thing. And I laugh because I was wrong. To Blackbird's point, he had 8.5 sacks. This is a rebuild. This is I want to talk about the stupidity of Giant season tickets. I've canceled my Giant season tickets. You have to pay, and here's the thing: you have to pay you have to pay a PSL, and that's a personal seat license for every ticket that you buy, on top of what you pay yearly. So it's a one-time PSL fee, but you can sell your PSL to somebody else. So I called up and I told them I want to cancel my tickets. I sent them an email, and I love it because then I get a phone call yesterday from the Giant ticket office. And they say to me, okay, well, you can go on this marketplace and sell your PSL. And you could try to recoup some of your money. I was like, okay, great. Then they go to me, but to do that, you have to renew your season tickets. And I paused. I had my dramatic pause. And I said, well, what do you mean I have to renew my season tickets? Wait, to sell them, you have to renew your tickets. So you go on a payment plan if you wanted to, and you have till April 1st. And this way you don't lose the PSL money, because if you sell the PSL, you have to sell it for a certain amount of price, but you have to renew your tickets to do it. So the Giant ticket office makes you re-up your tickets so you can sell your PSLs so you don't lose that money. Here's the best part, though. This is the business mind of the Giants. This is the best part. To cancel my tickets, I have to default on them. I have to wait till April 1st when the ticket payments due. And then I have to wait till they send me a letter saying that I'm going to forfeit my tickets if I don't buy them. This is how they run their business. Okay? So I told the guy, I said, fuck it. What if I just eat the PSL cost? Of course I accept DJ apologies. And I said, what if I just eat that? The tens of thousands of dollars I've already paid. What if I just say, fuck it, you keep it? Can I still cancel my season tickets immediately? No. You have to wait till your tickets are past due, and we send you a letter saying they're past due. I got emails. I'm not making this shit up. I got emails about this. And then he goes, well, don't you want to wait till the draft until so you don't want to cancel your tickets, so you see if you want to cancel your tickets or not? No. But they want me to renew my tickets so I can sell my PSL on the PSL website. They are a shit show wrapped in a riddle. Yes, Todd, yes. You need to buy them again so to cancel them. No, and I love it because, like I said, the PSL is a personal seat licensing agreement. So you could transfer that or you could sell it. But to sell it on that website they have, you have to renew your season tickets. It's almost like a pyramid scheme. It really is. It's almost like a scam. And I love it because the invoices went out yesterday. That's why I sent another email saying, listen, I sent an email saying I'm canceling this shit. You know what happened before the PSLs? We were all wonderful. There was a 20-year waiting list to get into tickets for that stadium. The last 2 years are the first 2 seasons in Giant history that they sold single game tickets. Oh, here you go with Frank. I forfeited my tickets last year. I got the letter defaulting. I never sold the PSL, lost the money. It wasn't a big deal for me. I sat in section 323. Yeah, but you still probably defaulted. Even in section 323, I don't know how long ago the PSLs, I still think that's like $2,400 for 2 seats. It's you're right. It's not a big deal. It's more of the principle. So I love this because Frank is right. You have to get the letter to default on your tickets before you can cancel your tickets. But if you want to sell the PSL, you have to renew your tickets so you can sell them on their PSL website, and then you hope you sell them. And if you don't, you're stuck for the 2025 season with these tickets. Does that seem like a pyramid scheme or a scam to you? Frank gets it. This scam likely. I want to talk about one thing and I want to get into the chat. Shedeur Sanders. Last year, before even this draft, he was, if you read all of his scouting reports, he was a guy that was labeled a first round pick. Everyone you talked to, everyone you saw him play, he was a first round pick. And now, as you get closer to the draft, you have certain prognosticators and certain people saying, well, he's not really a first round pick. He's not a first round pick. And I laugh because if you go on certain websites that rank like your ability to be a first rounder, and they go by a, why is my computer freezing again? I can't keep doing this. Hold on. Now if you go by a score on some of these sites, out of 100, he was like 90 something. And now all of a sudden the score is dropping for Shedeur Sanders. Now it's dropping down. So he's no longer this guaranteed first pick. Some people are saying he's not even a first rounder. Which is literally crazy to me. Which is insane to me. And now a certain segment of Giant fans are like, I always said he's not going to be a good pick. Are you saying that he's not going to be a good pick because of the fact that you don't think we are going to get him? So, and it's always the same thing with Giant fans. If we're not going to get someone, we all of a sudden just start bashing them. And then we all of a sudden turn around and look some other guys. Now looking at you, Dart. And all of a sudden have this guy that's just like, oh, here we go. This is the next new guy. Sanders plays hero ball. Sanders has issues. Sanders has overconfidence in his own arm. He tries to throw into spots he probably shouldn't throw into. He has a tendency to kind of take off in the pocket. He's got some problems against, you would probably say, reading a little bit more sophisticated defenses, but he's getting there. But he's a guy that has all the natural ability. He's got natural command in the huddle. He's a leader. His accuracy at times is surgical. I think he was what? I think his completion percentage was over 70. He's got big time speed. He can go through his, like Cam Ward, he goes through his progressions and he looks downfield. And he's got the arm. And he doesn't have that release like Spencer Rattler has, but he's got a quick ass release. He is a first round pick. He is a first round talent. He is a top 5 pick in this draft. He was probably a top 10 pick in last year's draft. But all of a sudden, there's all these problems. And the new poster boy for the New York Giants is going to be Dart. And I'm trying to figure out why. I really am. I'm trying to figure out what Dart has done to all of a sudden start rocketing up to a second round pick. To me, Dart would be this year's Spencer Rattler. He really would. Because he's got good arm talent. Is it elite? No. I don't think his arm talent is elite at all. I think he's not a Chad Pennington, but he's not a guy in my mind that has these tendencies that make him elite. I think his highest completion percentage is only 65%, and he's played against low end talent. There are so many things that he does poorly that is he a dual threat guy? Sure. But his decision making, his ball security is terrible. If you're going to make him any type of a drop back passer and keep him in the pocket, kind of like what they try to do at times with Daniel Jones, that's not going to fucking work. And if you want to, his play has dropped exponentially against greater talent. You look at good example. I always tell people, go look at the Kentucky game. Go look at that game. And that Kentucky's not even a big time program, but they had a pass rush. But all of a sudden, he is the giant fan guy. And I keep looking at his stats, and if you want to get crazy and kind of break it down, 19 of his touchdowns came in 4 games. I mean, think about that. Literally 19 of his touchdowns came in 4 games. And one of them was against Duke. So, I mean, one of them was okay. Let's just break down his 19 touchdowns real quick. 5 of them came against Furman. 4 of them came against Georgia Southern. 6 of them came against a bad Arkansas team. And the last 4 came against Duke. In between there, he had 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1. So explain to me how Jackson, if his yards per carry, because he's a dual threat, is 3. He's got, and all of a sudden we want to take him in the second round. To me, last year, if you want to talk about Shedeur Sanders, where he would have fell last year, Dart, if he would have came out, would have been a 7th round pick. Would have been a 7th round pick. Or an undrafted free agent. Joe Milton has more talent, and we saw where Joe Milton went in this draft. Yes, Quinn did declare, but he's injury prone and there you go. Alexander just summed it up. Erratic with his accuracy, 100%. What does Mike say? Shedeur has good processing, understanding the game, good physical traits, like his arm strength may be lacking, but 90% of the quarterback position is above the shoulders, and Sanders is smart. He doesn't have a bad arm, Sanders. He doesn't. Watch some of the deep passes to Travis Hunter. Frank says you have tickets in a good section. You should be able to get close to 100% what you paid for the PSL fee. Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. What's up, Kareem? What's going on? Trade T-Brad in the house saying trade for Joe Milton. Yeah, with wish. The Patriots are gonna sit there and go, let's see, we could trade for Joe Milton, or we could have a insurance policy with Drake May. Which and we should give him away to the we should just give him away to the Giants. I know you're being
What? Warning, sarcasm.
I know he's being sarcastic here. Sanders never was any good. His dad just brings a circus that the media latches onto. No, Sanders is good. I'm not a big Shedeur Sanders fan. I'm a Cam Ward guy. I've said this before. But you cannot sit there and doubt the ability of Sanders. You really can't. Because he has football ability. He does. And he's shown a progression throughout his entire career. He is a guy that, you can love him, you can hate him, but he has shown a progression. He's gotten steadily better every year. 2023, 69%, 3,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Last year, 74%, 4,134 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. His completion, his touchdown percentage went from 6.3 to 7.8. His yards per completion went from 7.5 to 8.7. His yards per game went from 293 to 318. He is a guy that has made the progression every year. He is an NFL quarterback. Plain and simple. He is an NFL quarterback. And this is a terrible year for quarterbacks. This is a god awful year for quarterbacks. I mean, it's not even funny how bad this is. This is the Kenny Pickett draft. And I didn't like Kenny Pickett because when you're a 5-year starter at Pitt and your best season's your last season, that tells you right off the bat you got problems. But he is, you can bash him. You could do whatever you want to do. Oh no, Bob Uecker died? That's sad. Why'd you have to bring that? I know I'm not cheering for Bob Uecker dying. Just a bit outside, tried to corner and missed. Great, fair baseball player, great announcer, great personality. Wow, that's. I met Bob Uecker a couple times on the set of Major League 1 and 2, and I laugh because I told him on the set of Major League 2. That's really sad. That I wanted to do my Bob Uecker impression, and I laughed because I told him right off the bat. I said, I guarantee it, no one's done this for you because everyone wants to do it. Every time you meet Bob Uecker, you want to do the Bob Uecker impression. But he was he like when I met him a couple times, he's a stand-up guy. He was funny. He took his time. It was me and my friend Brian. They were at the BWI airport because Major League 2 was shot in Baltimore. It was shot in Camden Yards. Yeah, that sucks. 90. I think he was. I think he's got to be over 90. Tech says not confident Dart or Sanders. The only quarterback draft is Ward. I think the 2 quarterbacks in this draft are Ward and Sanders. And now I love it because the report came out that Joe Schoen was going to take Sanders in the second round if he came out last year. And I love it because Sanders still would have went in the first round last year. He probably would have went before Bo Nix. And listen, you could sit there and say, we were all wrong about Bo Nix. No, we were more right about his head coach than we were wrong about Bo Nix. Because he is a product of the system in Denver right now, which is fine because he was a product of the system of Oregon. If you fit in the system, you play well in the system, it doesn't matter. Because a lot of people couldn't fit into the Sean Payton system and play that way. So it doesn't matter. But I mean, yeah. Sanders never was good as dad. No, we got that one. Let's see. I think I saw somewhere that Quinn declared. Yeah, he did declare. Yes, he did. Let's see here. We already got that one. We got that one. That's a crazy stat. Oh, about the 19 touchdowns in 4 games. Todd Taylor says most of the problems with them is because he played in Eli's old school. I think that's the other thing. He played at Eli's school. He played at Ole Miss. So people are like, oh my God, he's got to be good. He's a dual threat guy. But you are going to have his footwork before the bowl game a couple weeks ago. I did a video about Drew Aller, and I said, listen, here are the problems with Drew. And this is why he should stay in school. Scouts call his footwork lumbering. And if you watch the way he sets up, he has a tendency that his footwork is not great. And when he sets up, the way he sets up, it leads to the tendency of him throwing high. And I just laughed because I was texting some people during the game, and I was texting OGR Sports at one point in time, and we were chuckling because every time he threw the ball, and OGR is a Penn State guy, every time he threw the ball, you throw it high. And, at one point in time, he was just, they were just typing, OG was just typing high, high, high. Yeah, because that's just the way he is. Yeah, great arm talent, great physical traits, but he's got terrible footwork. Dart's the same way. Dart's accuracy goes down exponentially against the rush. He is not a pocket passer, and he does not throw extremely well on the run. So that's a bad tendency when you can't set up in the pocket. You're going to run it. He's an RPO guy. Like I said, he is this year's Spencer Rattler. That's what he is. He's this year's version of Spencer Rattler. Jason said, I'll take Jameis Winston quarterback in the draft over Hendon Hooker. Dude is just wasting his years on the bench. I liked Hendon Hooker coming out of school. I thought he was going to win the Heisman until he blew out his knee. But he also had a lot of good talent in the wide receiver position around him in college. They actually brought back Teddy Bridgewater at one point this season after his high school team won the championship when he was coaching. Hendon Hooker to me is still the unknown. If you're going to get maybe you trade a 7th for him, but I don't think Detroit's going to give him up. Jameis Winston's a fun story. He's a good guy to watch. Teammates love him. And then his act wears thin. And that's kind of what happened in Cleveland. That's kind of happened with the Saints. It's definitely what happened in Tampa. The act wears thin, especially when you start losing. Everyone starts at 0. The question is how fast you catch up at the speed and the professional level. Joe's going to be a long time. I hate Joe, says Daryl, for at least not getting a quarterback in later rounds last year. We've talked about it and this is why I don't understand the trust people have in Joe Schoen at all. Last year was the quarterback wide receiver draft. You could have gotten both. You could have traded out of 6, got someone like Penix, went later in the draft, came back into the first round, grabbed someone like Ladd McConkey, Brian Thomas Jr. Hell, you could have got Keenan Coleman. And you fixed you didn't fix your offense because you still got offensive line problems, but you made your offense better and you built the future. No, we go wide receiver. And no quarterback. If Warren and Sanders are at 3, you take them. Otherwise, someone developed later in the quarterback room, you have no talent there anyways. Here's the problem. Here is the problem with this draft and this giant team right now. And this is why I canceled my season tickets. You have no quarterback. You have Tommy DeVito. And we're gonna get Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins showed he was washed up on a pretty good Atlanta team. And you want to go get him? We're going to get Russell Wilson. Okay, Russell Wilson at the end of the year showed he was washed up on a good Pittsburgh team. So all of a sudden he's going to come in here and fit? All of a sudden these guys are going to be good with lesser talent around them? Or what the Titans did with Willis. Yeah, the Tennessee Titans screwed up Malik Willis. We talked about that. We talked. Matt LaFleur has come out and said, and that's when people are like, we should trade for Malik Willis. Malik Willis isn't leaving Green Bay. Matt LaFleur pretty much said that. You got a perfect backup to Love. They do basically the same thing, except Willis has got a bigger arm and right now better accuracy. But they basically do the same thing. And Green Bay doesn't make the playoffs last year if it wasn't for the 3 wins Malik Willis had. Malik Willis should have had 4, but the defense gave up to that last game of the season. After Malik Willis brought them back, they gave up with the big field goal. But you don't have a quarterback. And I love it when Joe Schoen said, well, you know what the thing is, you know what the thing is? The thing is this, the quarterback's the most important position. And I love it. We looked at a bunch of guys the last couple of years, and all the guys we looked at who went to other teams, you had pretty good second and first seasons. So you are patting yourself on the back and extolling the virtues of how well you did on scouting, but you didn't draft anyone. Will Sanders be able to handle the toxic New York market? Will anyone? I mean, Dion is not a big fan of New York. Look what happened when he was with the Yankees. He's not a big fan of New York. It'll be interesting, but sounds like the Ghost Twins. It does. Mike says the only way college game is played now, especially at the quarterback position, the way the offenses are designed to make it hard to project a quarterback prospect. College football is broken. College football is broken. I give you that 100%. But there are ways to determine the validity of the talent of a quarterback in college. And so, yeah, I agree. Todd says, New York media is easy, win and say nothing. The Manning's method. The winning part is the tricky part of being able to shut up when you lose. Those are the bad parts. But you know what? You are gonna get carte blanche that first year. 100% Sanders would. He's just gonna get carte blanche. This is a weird draft. Because I'm not sold really on anyone. It's like people like Abdul Carter. Just think if we got Abdul Carter. So you're going to get another undersized defensive end who was an off-the-ball linebacker for 2 years, who got moved to defensive end, who uses his speed to get around lesser talent with this little shoulder dip. And we saw in the bowl game when his shoulder's hurt and he can't do that little dip move, he's not effective. And he looks eerily and plays eerily similar to Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, but you think adding Abdul Carter is going to be like adding Parsons. No, 2 different players. Travis Hunter is not going to be this dual player. He may get 5 plays on offense. And do you think that teams aren't just going to scheme and understand that when he's in the game, more likely they're going to go that way? Great cover corner in college, can't tackle. He's Dion. Dion could not tackle. There was never a tackle that Dion didn't want to try to avoid. But he was such a great cover corner that if you don't allow the person to catch the ball, that's like what everyone Drew Phillips. I love everyone Drew Phillips. Everyone Drew Phillips. Oh, Drew Phillips this. And now finally some scouts like, well, it's interesting that the league completed 75% of their passes against him, but he's got all these tackles. It's the Aaron Robinson syndrome. The idea is to prevent the wide receiver, the tight end, the running back from catching the ball. After you allow them to catch the ball, then you tackle them, it kind of defeats the purpose of being a corner. Am I the only one that sees that? And I watched him play. Yes, he tackles well, but he also does a lot of shoulder tackles. But the idea is not to allow the offensive player to catch the ball. Patrick Surtain II. If you watched him play against the guys in his divisions, the guys that he plays against, the tremendous amount of skill players in his division, I think the passing rating in those games against these guys, I think it's like 8. Normally it's like 97, whatever. It's 8. 0.08 or 0.80. And I think they have 3 catches out of like 47 throws. That's preventing the other team from catching the ball. Alexander said he literally has been compared to Burrows in terms of accuracy. He's a natural leader. That's what we need. He is. Shedeur Sanders, for everything you can hate about him, or dislike about him, is scary accurate. 70-something percent. He's gone up every year. He's got scary accuracy. Sanders is the poor man's Caleb Williams. Mental gymnastic may be wearing you out. You are gunning for a job at Jets. Here's the thing about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams was a fluke. He had a bad season. Caleb Williams was terrible. Caleb Williams was god-awful. Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, better than Caleb Williams. Well, they all have basically the same stats. Caleb Williams stats, Bo Nix stats, and Jaden Daniels stats are almost exactly the same. What is the difference? Winning. Caleb Williams has this season in Denver. They're in the playoffs. Same thing with Washington. Caleb Williams went to a dysfunctional Bears team whose head coach was god-awful, puts up the same stats. All of a sudden, he's a bum. That's what I don't get about people. It's all about perception. It's the perception that Caleb Williams had a terrible season. Caleb Williams, 62% of his passes, 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Okay? Bo Nix has 3,665 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, completing 65% of his passes. And arguably has more talent and a better coach. Todd says, no, great. I know. That just made me really sad. Let's see here. Mr. Roberts says, I really looked into the quarterbacks next year. I've seen a few prospects on TV, but next year's class, I thank you, Mr. Roberts. I said this before. Next year's class isn't that great either. It's not. You got to find a quarterback because if not, we're going to be bad for another 6 years. New York State of Mind says, with prospects, it's always a wait and see. There are not many absolutes either way. There are. You're 100% right. Jason, the win won't be a factor unless no one cuts one. One of my favorite scenes from Bob Uecker is at one point in time he's reading he's reading the stats, and this is a Major League One, and he's reading off the hits, and he goes, and the Cleveland Indians with 1 hit, and he stops and goes, 1 hit? It's like, we got 1 goddamn hit. And his announcer, a friend, grabs a microphone and says, you can't say that on TV. He goes, don't worry, nobody's watching anyways. Can't say that about DJ. He's flatlined in year 2. You know what I love about DJ? He went to Minnesota. Minnesota lost. This curse is DJ. And Barbara says, Tim, I like the rare knowledge you give me about the Major League movie. Good stuff. Oh, I got a lot of good stories about those movies. That and the program. Shedeur Sanders, 1,000 times better than J.J. McCarthy and Drake May and Bo Nix. I don't know if he's 1,000 times better, but Shedeur Sanders is going to be an NFL quarterback. He would have went in the first round last year, and he's going to go probably in the top 5 this year. DJ is coming back to the Giants full effect. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. Yeah, it happened. John Mayer is the problem. Uecker was 90. I knew he had to be 90-something. Sanders will be the biggest televised failure in NFL history. I can't wait because it's going to be great. You ever heard of, what's his name? You ever heard of Russell? What's his name? Jamarcus Russell. There's Ryan Leaf. It's not even going to be close. Josh Rosen. Right now, what's up, Greg? Right now, it's a team sending now disinformation about prospects to devalue their draft position. You always do that. You 100% always do that. Except for Dave Gettleman. Todd says, when we need to throw 4 touchdowns because he's thrown 3 picks and 6s, yeah, Winston is good for like 2 weeks. Then you want somebody else. He threw for 5,000 yards his last season as a starter in Tampa. And he threw for 33 touchdowns. Problem is, he threw for 31 interceptions. And I can't remember the game. I wish I remembered the game. And it was great because the Bucs lost like 38-35. And Winston would come in, he would throw a dime for a touchdown. And then the next series, he would come in and literally they ran the ball. They throw an interception for a touchdown. And then he'd come back in and throw a dime for a touchdown. And then he'd come back next series, he'd throw an interception for a touchdown. This way the first half went. I don't have a strong take on Sanders at this moment. I'll take a shot at him at 3. I would take a shot at him at 3. Why not? Winston can be helped. At least he's exciting to watch. I don't think Winston cannot be helped. What's up, LeVar? He says, let's talk. Jaden Jones says not getting a quarterback last year's draft was criminal incompetence. But don't worry, we brought back the criminal incompetence. Christian says, God, please, God, no Keegar Wilson. If anything, just do Fields as a bridge. That's the other thing I don't get. Giant fans, since Justin Fields came out, because I even said during the Fields draft, I would have taken Justin Fields. Dahmer was on the show. T-Brad was on the show. James was on. I said I would have taken Justin Fields. All of a sudden now, Justin Fields isn't so bad. Barbara says, hey, Tim, just think if the Giants didn't draft Neighbors, they would have only won 2 games. If you didn't sign Drew Lock, they would have won 2 games. It's a good point, though. I mean, Love got hurt. Why would they trade Willis now? They're not going to trade Willis. That's the whole thing. I mean, Matt LaFleur basically is in love with Malik. No, Malik Willis, for those that do not know, got traded for the Titans. They made that trip to Brazil. He had been with the team for less than 10 days, and he was starting the next week. Daniel Jones sat for over 6 weeks on the roster, never got promoted until that playoff game. Sanders is a dog. He could be. I lost faith in Schoen when I saw how he interacted with everyone in Hard Knocks. I agree. I'm done. I'm so done with Schoen. That's why I told him to keep the text. I just love and Frank NYG. I love the fact that you went through the same thing. That you literally have to renew your season tickets so you can sell the PSLs. Is that not the biggest fucking scam you've ever heard? And then you can't just cancel them. You have to wait till you default on them in April. They're one of the few teams, and they are one of the few teams in this league that has the PSL, the personal license, the personal season, the personal seat license. There are not a ton of teams that have them. But the Giants have them. Let's see. It's who has a PSL? You have Falcons, Ravens, Panthers, Bears, Bengals, Browns, Cowboys, Texans, Raiders, Rams, Vikings, Giants, and Jets, Eagles, Steelers, 49ers, and Titans. They are all the ones that have the PSLs out of the 32 teams. Also, Sanders didn't have much talent on the offense besides Sanders. Name their running back or offensive lineman or tight end. I'll wait. You're wrong. You're not wrong. Shane says Barbara is not a competent GM. He's not. He is not a competent GM. Not at all. He's a true leader. Shedeur Sanders is a leader. He is a leader. 100%. He is. Like him or dislike him, he's a first round guy. Scouts trying to devalue him after they basically kneeled at his altar for 2 seasons. Deion is about to take the head coaching job of the Cowboys. I hope he does. Sanders on Penn State equals championship. You know what? Honestly, you put Sanders on Notre Dame or Penn State, yes, I do think you have a national championship. I lost faith in Schoen a few times. The first time was after he kept McDonald, Chris Mara, and Kevin Abrams. The second time was his first draft class. And the third time was when he treatment of Jones for Saquon Barkley. I remember when Jerome Henderson, for some Giant fans, not looking at you, R0B, was the greatest coach there ever was. He turned all these guys around. He could do no wrong. Well, they fired him. Drew Aller got exposed. He got exposed. It was easy to see with Aller. He throws. It's the setup, and he throws fucking high. And I'm like, and I counted at least 7 times in that bowl game he threw high. And I'm like, that's like I said. It's just Deion didn't really try that hard. Deion did not try hard to tackle at all. Imagine Deion Sanders, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys and Giants draft his son. That would be interesting. Hey, Paul, what's up? Hey, Tim, haven't seen you in a minute. I'm right here. Here, I'm going to give Paul. I'm going to give you an extra minute. You can keep looking at me. How's it going, Paul? Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, Paul. Where you been? Evan said he played with a below-average offensive line too. Yeah, he did. Greg says, Tim said last time this was a quarterback to grab a quarter. Last year was the year to grab a quarterback, and we didn't take one. I feel this year is a good year to grab a coach, and we won't get one. You're not wrong, Greg. I wish I could say you were wrong. Let's see here. Sanders that move up back in the draft and grab Will Johnson. I'm not a big Will Johnson fan. I'm really not. I think if you take Will Johnson, it should be sometime after 15. All first round drafted quarterbacks this year, you see promise. You did. Hell, even Spencer Rattler played. Joe Milton played. I mean, this was the year of the quarterback. This was the year of the quarterback. David said, Caleb Williams has the most talent of the group, but I saw him try his college playmaking stuff to an extent that held on the ball too long. If he goes to the fumbles, he will be super cal. You know what's funny? There was a play. I can't remember. I can't remember who they were playing. And it didn't count. And Caleb took the ball of the shotgun. He rolled to the left. There was nothing there. He rolled all the way to the right. I mean, literally, he went from one side of the field to the next side of the field. On the run, he threw a 45-yard dime to DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. Didn't count because there was a holding penalty, but that was probably, if you had like one of the greatest throws of the year, that was probably one of the best throws of the year. But it didn't count. Hit that like button, folks. Thanks, Daryl. Daryl says hit the like button. Because if you don't, I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Super Bowl caliber. I agree. EC1 Sports says, how you doing? You see Barkley and Smith and Brown on the sidelines, mic'd up after Barkley did the slide. Yeah, I did. They love Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia. I mean, the teammates love him. The teammates just love him. There's nothing else to say. I mean, this guys go somewhere else, and he rushes for 2,000 yards. And I love it because we had a second proponent for
Stupid giant Twitter post.
I don't remember who actually had the post, but the post basically read why we were better off with Saquon Barkley because of the fact that he was hurt all these years and all these games, but all of a sudden he just goes to Philadelphia and does something like rush for 2,000 yards. And I had to remind this person, what was our win-loss record? Or how many wins did we have the last 2 seasons with Barkley compared to what we had without him last year? You want to talk about wins? I love it when people say wins don't matter when you're a losing team unless they screw up your draft position or unless a fan is trying to prove a point. So you went from 6 wins. You lost 4 wins without Saquon Barkley from the year prior. DJ wishes he could have Williams bum stats. LeVar says, Tim, let's go. No, Dylan Gabriel. No, Dylan Gabriel. I saw Dylan Gabriel play all the way up to when he got hurt at UCF, and he's the one that got exposed in the bowl game. Dear Lord, please deliver me from the pick sixes. Winston. That was pretty funny, though. In one season, Caleb's passing touchdowns surpasses 5, and Daniel Jones at 6 years passing touchdowns. I wish the Giants tank for Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. So do I. Paul says, draft a quarterback every year until you get it right. That's not a bad idea. You got to throw your hat into the ring once or twice so you can literally find out if you have a quarterback. We've never done that since Daniel Jones has been here. We never brought him in any competition because we didn't want to hurt his little feelings. And I love why he went to Minnesota, because their coach was nurturing. He went there because they have a nurturing head coach. Oh, grow up and take your panties off. Logic says, I got extreme hate every time I call Daniel Jones a backup quarterback since his second season. We are now officially, wait for it, backup quarterback. Dr. Garrett apologized, so I do accept the apology. I did see. I know I do that. Todd says, another important move we need to make is to find an answer. So the keyword is when, not if. Andrew Thomas goes down, whatever reason. Every time Andrew Thomas goes down, the whole world falls apart. Problem is we can't trade Andrew Thomas for the next 2 years because the dead cap number will kill us. Trenton, what's up? Tim, my Eagles are going to crush the Rams. I was contemplating going to the game Sunday at the link, but I'm going to the inauguration. I got tickets to go. I got invited to go to the inauguration, so I'm going to go to the inauguration. So I'm not going to be around. But I would have gone to that game if I was going to be here. I'm predicting the Commanders upset the Lions in a close game. I could see that too. The Commanders got something going on here. You know, I remember at the beginning of the season, I was arguing with someone on one of the chats that I said the Commanders are going to be good. I said if Jane Daniels can keep it together, they're going to be good because while they went out and got a lot of older talent because they had to spend their cap space, they got guys that fit a system, that fit Quinn's system. And they're going to be good. I had them second in the division. I actually had all three teams making. I had the Eagles, the Commanders, and the Cowboys making the playoffs. Wrong about the Cowboys, and the Giants being at the bottom of the division. But they put together. They are like when Gettleman put together the 15-1 team over with the Panthers when the Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl with Cam Newton, and Gettleman has never been good at picking up free agents, but somehow that class, all older guys, and they all kind of fit, and the team went 15-1 under Ron Rivera. Green Bay isn't trading Willis, and New England isn't trading Milton unless you overpay. Why would they deal these guys as a favor to the Giants? Giants fans are delusional. You're not wrong. Christian says, any chance I could make the draft pick? Of course, according to reports. If you send the tweet, Gaucho will use it. Tim, looks like Sanders is going to drop. I hope Sanders does drop. I really do. First of all, I'm going to be interested to see the Sanders show. I'm not sure he's going to allow him to go to Cleveland. Dion, that is. I'm not sure he's going to allow that. Logic's finest is Colorado had the best wide receiver room in the nation the past season. Joe Horn, Webster, Shepard, and Miller. Colorado had plenty of talent besides Travis Hunter. Talent had no run game and a weak offensive line. Okay. It would be great if the league let teams trade GMs. It would be great if you could fire a GM. Oh, wait, you can. We just don't do it. Mr. Taz says, reminder to look on the bright side, Tim. At least Mara isn't starring on Latin Men instead of trying to get us to look at it. What's up, Timmer? What's up, Ask Me? Thomas says, do you see Ward or Sanders falling? I see Sanders potentially falling to 3. And I see it more because of the fact that I think they may protest like Eli didn't go into San Diego and say, we are not fucking going to Cleveland. Unless Cleveland makes a trade to like the Raiders. Because I don't think he's going to get past the Raiders. Listen, Sanders is a good prospect. I have my problems. I have my issues with Sanders. Said it before. Pointed out things that I have issues with the way he plays and some of the things he does. But as a prospect, he's a good prospect. Same with Cam Ward, good prospects. Anything after that is garbage. This is a terrible draft for quarterbacks. Last year was the best quarterback class since Eli came out in 2004, and we didn't take any of them now. Fan base says, wait until next year. This fan base loves losing. 2004, you got to remember, I mean, you had, of course, Eli, you had Big Ben, you had Phillip Rivers, you had JP Lossman in that draft, which didn't work out, but you also had, what's his name? The guy that was the quarterback over at the Texans for a bunch of years. He was taken in the second round. I can't remember his name. I mean, 83 was the draft. 83, you had Kelly, you had Marino, you had Elway. Kenny O'Brien had a good career. Tony Eason went to a Super Bowl. Todd Blackledge was the biggest flame out in that entire draft over in Kansas City. But last year was the draft. Last year, you have these drafts every 20, 25 years. This was that draft. And then, for the next 6-7 years, we're going to suck in these drafts. None of it matters because you have Shane holding the picks. I mean, we've said it before. Some people want to say I'm a genius, but how can you really screw up 5 and 7? Okay. I've seen a lot of great quarterback play. Caleb is most raw I've ever seen. Caleb Williams and I agree, he's a really good quarterback. He was a really good quarterback on a really bad team at times. And it's not that the Bears had talent. The Bears had talent on defense. And they had talent on offense. The problem was the head coach was just god awful. was just terrible. And you have a stretch of games where, he figured it out against the Colts in week 3 when he threw for 363 yards and 2 touchdowns. He figured out against the Panthers and was doing 70% of his passes for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had another good game against the Vikings where he threw for 340 and 2. He followed up with a good game against the Lions, or okay game against the Lions. We threw for 366 and 266 and 3 touchdowns. He had a stretch of period of time. You have to remember, he threw an interception on December 13 against the Jaguars. His next interception did not occur until December 26 against the Seahawks. And in that span, I'm sorry, I was counting. In that span from, if you count that game from the Jacksonville game, from October 13th to January 5th, he threw 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's pretty good. Dumb Giant fans hoping for Barkley to get injured because he didn't resign. I hate Giant fans when they talk like that. I really do. Sanders is late. Sanders is surgical. He is I'm not going to use laser. He is fucking surgical. He holds the ball too. Yeah, he does. He looks deep, but here's the thing with Sanders. Yes, he holds the ball too long, but you know what he's doing? He's not Daniel Jones. He's looking downfield. My only knock on him is be sure to 5 and 7 yards when there are 40-yard plays. And he plays hero ball. I want a quarterback that can speak proper English. Who doesn't speak proper English? Accelerate the draft process. Nothing but quarterbacks this year. One of the two should be good. I love that. I do love that. Somebody even said we should take a quarterback every year. Joe Schoen is a terrible GM. His draft record is abysmal. The last couple of decent picks in 2024, but Schoen is garbage in the draft. Why Mara supports him is the indication of how bad the indication on how bad this team is. John Mara, we can't keep just getting rid of guys because when you do that, it always seems to get worse. So we have to have continuity, and we have faith in the organization. We have faith in the people we have in the building. Within the same interview. But if we don't win, everyone's getting fired. And then I love Joe Schoen. We don't have an edict to make the playoffs. Must be great. Must be great to know, hey, listen, I could be a loser and I'm not going to lose my job. James says, I'm a 67-year-old Giant fan. It sickens me to see how bad they are. Well, James, then you are going to remember the 70s. You are going to remember the Andy Robistelli eras. You're going to remember trading for Craig Morton and giving up that second overall pick for the likes of Randy White. We were so bad during that period of time. You will say it, and you should know it. This is worse. We need a quarterback with a decent IQ. Stanley says, hey, Tim, do you think it'd be... No, what did happen with Jimmy G? I thought he retired. I thought he was going too. I can't take Abdul Carr and Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, no. Jackson Dart is Spencer Rattler without the release in the arm. That's what he is. 19 of his touchdowns came in 4 games, and 2 of those games were against, we said it before, Southern Mississippi, or Southern Georgia, Furman, Duke, and Arkansas. Out of his 29 touchdowns, 19 of them came in 4 games. And then when he went up against Kentucky, he got walloped. And Kentucky doesn't have that great of a defense. But they have a pro-style pass rush. Architects where you can do, depending on the different factors of the game, not much dope is fun to watch. Hire Russell Wilson as a bridge quarterback for Dart. No Dart. Michael Lee says, don't worry, we'll be going back to drafting at the Senior Bowl. What could possibly go wrong? A black quarterback solves everything. Why would a black quarterback solve everything? That was kind of a stupid comment. Zach says, my girlfriend's grandfather's got sidelines tickets to the Eagles playoff games. Well, you know what? Hopefully you're going to go, Zach. Caleb is inaccurate at times. He is. But when he is on his game, also they have a bad offensive line in Chicago. He completes 70% of his passes. You see Abdul Carter, but you want to go. I saw Abdul Carter wants to go to Philly. Listen, I think Abdul Carter is going to be a good player. I do. But you have 2 players on Burns and Thibodeau that are identical to what he does. Makes 0 sense. Stanley, so it's a Giant pick. Stanley, what's up? Hey, Tim, I think Jackson Dart is a bust because he used to play in a spread offense with 4 to 5 wide receivers. He's good at, thank you. We talked about this an hour ago. You keep him in the pocket and under center, especially if you watched him at Ole Miss, his stats just go. You are not going to win with this guy. He's Daniel Jones in the pocket. You're not going to win with him. He's got it, and he doesn't throw that great on the run. The problem with Shane and Dable are consistently getting worse. They are, but that's how I win with firing. Giants Clown says, how about Strand taking a shot? Oh, I love when he took a shot at the Giant game. On the pregame, we should have reached for Clippers and Browns, the old Detroit Lions territory. Jimmy G is a Ram. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. What's up, Matthew? Good morning, Tim and OBB family. OG says, I know Mahomes is biracial, but in America, they consider him black. He's won 3 Super Bowls now. A black quarterback is being questioned in 2025. It's, Billy 2-yard Taylor. AKA the BT Express. My father, God rest his soul, biggest Giant fan ever. He is the one that actually coined Billy 2-yard Taylor. And then he would say it's Billy 2 yards in a cloud of dust, the BT Express. He went on to have that great career in the Washington Federals and USL after he left the Giants. That was a painful time to watch as well. More painful was 83 watching Butch Woolfolk run for 857 yards on like 3,497 carries. At the time when they beat the Dallas team, one of their wins, he had ran the ball, I think, a record 45 times. That NFL record was broken by Jamie Morris. Now someone else owns it. 83, it was just bad to watch. And the whole thing about, it's just silly. I mean, yes, this is 2025 and people still consider race. I said it before. They're like, well, Caleb Williams, he cries and does this and paints his nails. And I told people, listen, I don't care if he cries. I don't care if he paints his nails. I don't care if my quarterback's a fucking Martian. I want to win. Don't care. And I've said it before. I want an asshole who can read defenses. James, what's up, my brother? Matthew says, I hope we draft Ward. Otherwise, I have no idea what Schoen will do. Don't trust the front office at all. Nope, I don't. Greg says, most of Colorado's wide receivers were improved by Sanders. None of the wide receivers are intimidating except for number 12. They hardly ran the ball and passed on nearly every down. You're not wrong. I want Cam Ward too. Cam Ward's my guy. I've said it a million times. I love Cam Ward. Cam Ward would be my guy, but he's not going to be there. Titans are evidently in love with him. What's up, Big Greg? Says James. Zach Attack says, Giants draft a punter in the first round. Would not be shocked. Okay, Dart is out. Who do you think about the kid? Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord. Big Don, Syracuse fan. That's his guy. Kyle McCord again. Kyle McCord is Sam Hartman. Sam Hartman with better stats and not as good hair. Kyle McCord is probably going to go in the 6th, 7th round because there's no one else in this draft. Project, to say the least. But there is really just, this is a terrible draft for quarterbacks. Tim, I think the Ohio State Will Howard could be a sleeper. James Williams jumped off the chat the other day before I could bring up his guy, Will Howard. I'm not, you know what's weird about, there's so many things that you could like about Will Howard. And this run is literally going to help his stock. This is going to help his stock. He's actually from, he's from Downingtown, Pennsylvania, which is not too far from us. I mean, the kid is Will Howard. I mean, he is interesting. This fact that, to me, he is a pure leader. He is a guy that he transferred from Kansas State. He's got the size. He's got the arm. He is a guy that he is an intelligent guy. He throws the ball with anticipation. He is if you want to look in the definition for what I like to refer to him as a natural passer, that's what he is. That's what he is. And he kind of reminds me of Eli in reference to his pre-snap reads. Now, you're not going to get any creativity out of him. He's an older guy. I think he's going to be 25. He's inconsistent at times with his ball placement. But you got to look at him. Like I said, he is an NFL. If you're looking at a guy that's would probably have a better career in the NFL than he did in college, it might be Will Howard. But then again, like I said, he's not Chris Winkie. He's not 30 years old, but he is 24 years old. He is a guy that he is a guy that can operate under center. He's got clean footwork. Takes some time. It kind of reminds me of Daniel Jones in reference to the way he processes plays, the way he reads the defense. But if you're looking for a stand-up under the center, NFL-style quarterback, NFL arm, good footwork, is not going to give you that dual threat, but is going to be a true pocket passer in this league. Will Howard's not a bad option. But like I said, he does have problems. No, I don't think he's Brandon Wheaton. Because Brandon Wheaton, I still think, was 27 as well. Chris Wenke was 30. But he is a guy that is a true under the center quarterback, NFL quarterback, good size, good arm strength, good footwork. He's not going to give you much in creativity. Talked about it. He's like, we've always said Daniel Jones was a point guard that could not create his own shot. He's not going to be able to do that. He's not going to roll out of the pocket. He's not going to amaze you. He's not lumbering. He's not Drew Aller, but he's not going to amaze you with what he can do. But he is an interesting guy that I would either take as an undrafted free agent, or I would take in the seventh round. More white quarterbacks that failed playing the position of black quarterbacks, but then you don't have the same stigma as the black ones. That's all I'm saying. I agree, OG. Missed the 70s. Didn't get the first 3 rounds from Fran. Yes, they did. And then they traded him back. Shit, I'm legitimately mad at Joey Lacogino Smith. Christian says drafting. I love the kid out of Boise State, but they're not going to take a running back. I like McCord too. I know you like McCord. Giants will draft a red. That is a giant thing to take Radley. To take Leonard. That would be. No to Big Will. At least not yet. I would take Will Howard in the 7th round, or I'd take him as an undrafted free agent. I would take Kyle McCord in the 7th round or an undrafted free agent. They're going to Kyle McCord is probably going to go higher. I don't think Riley Leonard's going to get drafted. A lot of these guys don't even sniff the draft board last year. Giants are going to re-sign Daniel Jones to a team-friendly deal. Will Howard mid-round, I would draft him like round 4. I could see Will Howard going that high. I could see that. Last year, he is an undrafted free agent. That's the way this draft is. Greg Wester and Joe Horn are game wide receivers. Will Shepard always won the 50-50 ball. Colorado had a very good wide receiver, and besides Trevor Sanders, not rewrite history. Sanders is fine. Winkie winning the Heisman at 28 was preposterous. Well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you're kind of right. Watch Giants Sam. That would be the Giants thing, signing Sam. I mean, I don't even, and I love it because people are like, well, there's this big decision in Minnesota about re-signing him. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. I don't think they're going to re-sign him at all. I don't think there was any indication they were going to re-sign him. I think they're going to go J.J. McCarthy. Let's see here. 7th round. Oh, copy. I thought you were talking about taking him in the same. No. Will Howard is a 7th round pick to an undrafted free agent. But if you want to look at a definition of a quarterback in the 90s, early 2000s, it would be Will Howard. The prototypical drop back quarterback with the size, the strength, the arm, the footwork to play under set. He's got the footwork. You know what I would like to see? I would like to take Jackson Dart and I'd take Will Howard and combine them. And I'd like to take Will Howard's size and his footwork and his ability to play under center and give it to Jackson Dart. Then you might have something. I would take a quarterback. I would take a quarterback, period. I can't stomach watching a game where Tommy DeVito has starters. Tim, I could be wrong, but I think Jackson Dart is going to be a little bit better than some think. Anyone, you know what? You could be right. But I just said, like I said, 19 of his 29 touchdowns came in 4 games against inferior teams. And then when he played against a good defense and played against a good rush, look at the Kentucky game, he got walloped. He panics. And he doesn't play you, and you're never going to play him in the pocket. He is a guy that you're going to have to do an RPO thing with him. You're going to have to do a spread offense, and we don't have the wide receivers. Jones cursed the Giant Vikings twice. Draft Dart and McCord, sign Winston, be in good shape. Let's see. Webster, not where we go. Webster, not Lester. Always opens, never even Sanders would throw the ball. What happened to DJ wanting to go to the team competing, and the Giants got dog walked by the Rams because they signed him. Let's see here. Who would Schoen target? Still the rookie, whoever it is ready. I hope he is. I meant Webster. You guys are still arguing about Sanders. I'm not going to argue about Sanders because you need to hit the like button. I'm not going to argue about Sanders because I think Sanders is going to be a good guy. I think Sanders is going to be a good pro. I think that. I think that I saw that the Giants are getting a 4th round compensatory pick for Xavier leaving. I did see that. Yeah, we'll screw that up. I think Sanders is going to be a good pro. I think he's got to go to the right situation. And like I said, I kind of have a feeling that he is not going to go. I have a feeling they'll throw a hissy fit and he's not going to go to Cleveland. I do think there's a good possibility. I'd like to see what true size he is. I got him listed at 6'2", 215. But I think at one point in time they had Kyler Murray at 6'3". My biggest issue with Sanders is, and maybe because he's playing at Colorado, he had too many negative plays. And he took 52 sacks in college last year. But is that more of a tendency of holding on the ball too long and waiting to see what's opening up downfield? I'd like to see him stay in the pocket a little bit more and kind of climb the ladder a little bit. You know, he's going to take some time in reference to diagnose certain NFL caliber plays, but I think his dad helps him with that. Has he got a Spencer Rattler? Spencer Rattler's got like Dan Marino type release, but he's got the same. Sanders has got the same type of release. It's compact. It's quick. He's got the arm strength. You know, I mean, he's going to fumble more than he's going to probably give you interceptions. Is he as mobile as I think Cam Ward is? No, but he can extend plays. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to extend plays. And I think that right there is what you need to look at when you look at Shedeur Sanders. Last year, I think he probably would have went in the top 15. This year, he's probably going to go in the top 3. It's the year. It depends on what year you go through on the draft. It cycles. Is he worth the 3rd overall pick? For this team, yes. Yes, for this team, yes, he is. I think Joe Schoen has a good advisors, but he doesn't listen to them, i.e. Brandon Brown. I agree. Fred Boy says, listening to you talk about the Giants is like listening to Deep State talk about how Trump is good for America. Now, let's see. I'm going to the Trump rally. I'm going to the inauguration. I got invited to the inauguration, so I'm going to ask you this, Fred Boy. Were you better off 4 years, the last 4 years, or the Trump 4 years? Because if you answer that question wrong, then you're pretty much an idiot. Tim, do you want to argue? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? Yeah, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. There's no argument there. I have a yard sign that's John McClane inside the vent. It says yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. And I keep that in front of my house. Greg for HC, why not? I'd rather have Cam Ward or Sanders, but it's not a giant thing. I agree. I'm not on the Sanders train, but I would like Cam Ward if he gets to go there. Would the Lions shop Hendon Hooker? They might, because like I said, they felt the necessity and the need to bring Teddy Bridgewater back for the playoff run. Rattler is trash, but he does have a quick release. You can be trash and still have traits, excellent traits. That's okay. But yeah, Spencer Rattler is trash. He played well. You know what? He played well enough as a rookie coming in for the Saints. That's all I'm saying. Hey Tim, what's up? What's your take? You know what? I don't know anything about honestly, I don't know a lot about the Virginia quarterback. Virginia Tech quarterback. I really don't. I haven't done my quarterback research yet outside the big names. Here you go, Frankenstein. I love the Frankenstein at quarterback. I really do. There is a perfect quarterback in this draft, but you're just going to have to combine Will Howard, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Kyle McCord. You got to take all these pieces of these guys and put them in. I keep hearing, yes, he actually came out and said that he would have taken him with a second rounder last year. That's how stupid our general manager is. You know what's funny about Mahomes was drafted that almost zero buzz on him? Steal of the century. Not really. He still went in the first round. Hey, gorgeous. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. McCormick. Let's see here. The Giants have the dumbest fan base, yet we're still smarter than our front office. Oh my God. Fred is a sand. Just leave Fred. Just leave Fred alone. There are stupid people in this world. And that's okay. Everyone can have their own opinion. You can like things, you can dislike things. Everyone can have their own opinion. I don't fault someone for having an opinion as long as their opinion is logic or has some logic behind it. But then you have people that just make stupid statements because all they want to do is hate. And that's fine. And their hate makes themselves feel better about themselves, which is fine. And if your hatred towards me gives you purpose in life, hate away. It doesn't bother me and it doesn't affect me to the least. What's his name? Ray, Rah, whatever his name, R-Y. He used to be a fan of the channel. Now hates me. He's gone over. He says he's gone over to Talking Giants because we basically picked on him the last live stream, and he doesn't like the fact that I'm trading his favorite player, Dexter Lawrence. Now I know nothing. For years I knew everything. Now I know nothing. And I told him, I said, fine, goodbye. If your hate keeps you warm at night and your distaste for me gives you a purpose in life, 2 thumbs up. Because it doesn't affect me either way. Sun still comes up. Sun still goes down at night. It's football. And if we can't disagree on football, you weren't meant to be on this channel. What do we got here? Let's see here. Fred. Fred's just an idiot. Let's leave Fred alone. I think Fred has some mental problems. Stanley says, hey, Tim, I'm starting to think that a bias against Sanders. I think they hate him I think there is a bias against Sanders because of Deion. I agree. Christian says, I don't think anyone wants to trade Dex. It's just one of the most logical things to do. Get me picks to fill more holes. And this is my last comment of the day. Trading Dexter Lawrence makes sense. You can't trade Andrew Thomas right now because the dead cap number is too big. Trading Dexter Lawrence makes sense. He's 27 years old. He's going to be 28 in November. He is going to be on the wrong side of 30 when you think you're going to be good again. And I asked the same question in the video. Is his talent level going to be at the same height in 4 years that it is right now? Because you're probably not going to be a playoff team for at least another 4 years. So when is going to be his highest and greatest trade value? And that's what the title of this video was, that Joe Schoen's got to get his head into the game because of the fact that we need to play long ball. We can't play season to season to save the head coach and general manager and quarterback's job. We have to be like the Packers. We got to be like the Steelers. We have to make moves now that are going to affect us 3 years from now. And one of those moves is getting a quarterback. Another one of those moves is moving on from a player who is a very good player, getting assets when it's at his highest trade value. Not when you're trying to get rid of him at the trade deadline because you're not going to re-sign him, but he's under contract, and make sure you hit the like button, and you have the highest trade value. And right now, that would be now. Can you get a late first rounder and maybe a couple other picks for him? Sure. I wouldn't get the pick for this draft. I would try to get the pick for 2026. Are you going to be clearing cap space? Yes. Are you a defensive tackle away from this team being good? No. And defensive tackles, you could find good ones in the later rounds. So while he is one of the quality 5 or 6 players the Giants have, How good is he going to be in 3 years at 31 years old? When you may be consistent and ready to play. No one's going to give you 3 first rounders for Dexter Lawrence. I'm sorry. No one's going to. No, he's not that good player, great player, but he's not 100% a game changer. Over the last 2 seasons, tell me what games Dexter Lawrence has influenced to the point. We've pointed it out before, especially that 9-7-1 season. There were 5 games the Giants don't win without Saquon Barkley. We went through it and pointed it out. Point out games to me over the last 2 years, the last 36 games, that Dexter Lawrence has impacted to the point that the Giants won. Lawrence Taylor, even on bad teams towards the end of his career, influenced games. He doesn't influence. I mean, I'm being honest. Just point out what games he has influenced. And tell me if he's going to be 30, if he's going to be 31, 32 years old, is he going to be the same caliber of player when we are good? No. And I love it because this idiot on other Twitter was like, well, then we shouldn't just draft guys because they all get old. You draft a guy at 21, you got at least 9 years if they're good. How long has Dexter been on this team? 6 years? It's going to be year 7. He's never going to. His peak is now. He's going to go this way. So why not use the trade value when it's at its highest? Food for thought. Back in 86 and 89, Neon Dion show wore out really fast. Fans got tired of the hype train. New York didn't like the hype players so much. He also left the Yankees because he hates New York. I wonder if Dion coming back to New York would be hatred. Yeah, he really hated the Yankees. No team is going to give up multiple pick for Dexter. I'm sorry. I think you can get a late first rounder, maybe a 4 and a 7. I think that's good value for Dexter Lawrence. Now, the problem is you're going to have a general manager that can hit on some picks. Why not? He is the best position. He's not at the best position. Chris Jones. Sorry. The guy from Detroit. There are at least 4 other players that are either better on the same par as Dexter Lawrence. And he doesn't have historic sack numbers. Aaron Donald at one season at the defensive tackle position had 20 sacks. More than half of Dexter Lawrence's sacks last year came from the defensive end position. Come on, dude. Stats equate to a small portion. You need to look at the entire picture beyond stats. At one point in time,
king of the almost sack
had the most quarterback pressures in the league, but he had half a sack. And I've said this before, and I'm going to say this a million times, especially about the stack about quarterback pressures. What did the quarterback pressures equate to? Interception, incompletion, negative yards. What did it equate to? Justin Herbert, his rookie season, played better, had better stats versus the rush than he did when he had a clean pocket. There are many quarterbacks in this league that have better stats when they have the rush in their face or when they are being hit. An arbitrary stat like pressures, okay, well, tell me what the pressure equals. And he's not Aaron Donald. I'm sorry. You can love Dexter Lawrence. You can tell me everything you want about Dexter Lawrence, but he is not Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald was probably the best defensive tackle at 6'1", 280 pounds ever in this league. Guy had 340 solo tackles, 111 sacks, played in 154 games. But he had the drop. You know, here's the thing about Aaron Donald. You want to watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna pull some magic here, guys. Ready for this? Don't watch this. Nothing on my sleeves. Aaron Donald, one of his big seasons, 2021, 30 years old, 12 and a half sacks. 2022, he gets hurt for 5 games. 31 years old, 5 sacks. 2023, 32 years old, plays in all 16 games, has 8 sacks. Defensive linemen are known for them, especially ones that get sacks, are known for losing their prowess later in their career after 30. Yeah, Aaron Donald is an anomaly. Here's the problem. All these years on the team don't count. When the clock turns to 2025, what you did in 2024 doesn't matter. Said this before, when the clock turns in college, what you did in college does not matter what you did in the pros. One season to the next does not matter. It's what you do that next season. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, everyone, I'm going to have to go eat my lunch because I got a lot of stuff to do because I'm going to be leaving for the next couple hours. All right, everyone, this is Tim. I want to thank everyone for coming in and having a good time. It was fun as always. Going to have a new video out on Friday. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And if you don't, peace.